So, yes, don't worry, I won't hurt you. I only want you to have some fun. That's from one of Prince's songs on his last album before he died. And today is about having fun with oils. Many people are afraid to use oils and butters and such in their cooking, and I'm going to talk about that some today. So welcome back to One Meal a Day Modified. Today's meal is a cup of mixed fruit, a pear, some truffle, and butter. Yes, there is actual real 100% butter in my potatoes and the rest of the steak that I had left over from yesterday. And what's that block of yumminess? What is that? Oh my God, I am having a piece of cake. We've had this cake in our house and we are finishing this cake off. I had a few pieces of it. This will be my third piece. And yes, it's part of my one meal a day that I've had, and it's okay to have that. I haven't gained a pound. As a matter of fact, as I reported the other day, I've lost 3 more pounds. And the best part of anything is that the weight that I've lost since August, I've maintained and even lost more. So you can do this. You can have a rare treat. You have to get to the point where you can control yourself. So if you just started this, you are not in control yet. So do not have a piece of cake. Maybe you shouldn't even have fruit. If sugar is your weakness, fruit may not be for you at this point either. However, for me, I can have this and it will take me the entire day to eat it, and I will be totally fine with that because it's a one meal that I'm having today, and that's it. And also, like I said, I want to talk about oils because, as I stated in my truffle, that the dark pieces are shaved pieces of truffle. In my truffled mashed potatoes, and all of this part of it I made myself, the steak as well as the truffle mash. The thing is, like I said, most people run away from oils because the food industry that was trying to push their sugars and their bad fats on you are to blame for that. And then sometimes when they're like, okay, they're cool with the sugar and they're still eating the fats because they're eating like French fries that were fried in fat or whatever, let's go after salt. Everything in moderation. That's the hard part for most people, is the moderation. Previous to doing one meal a day, my meal probably would have consisted of just a piece of steak and a extra large piece of cake. And later on, if I was still hungry, either I would have another piece of cake or maybe I'd have some fruit, maybe. But as you notice, how many times did I come back to the cake? Too many times. So I'm not a sugarholic, but the rare times that we have cake, if it's a cake that I like, that's the other thing. If it's a cake I don't like, I could care less about it. And what I would have had is more steak and probably more of the fruit here. And then I probably would have had some crunchy chips or popcorn, something like that. And like, a big bag of popcorn. Who's going for that little single serve stuff? Nobody does that. So anyway, just to talk about oils, this is something I was always perplexed about because you would hear so many different variations of this oil is healthier than that oil, or my God, don't touch the butter, butter is evil, etc., etc. So I decided to do a really comprehensive search on my own by looking at reports from the Journal of American Medicine. I looked at Health Magazine, which their information can definitely be conflicting sometimes. One day it's a yay, the next year it's a nay. So I looked at the Food and Drug Administration. I referenced a few doctors and to find out which oils are actually the healthiest. And, you know, some of the reasons why they're healthy and some of the reasons why they're unhealthy. So the healthiest oil, and I'm just going to start right out with that, is olive oil. Extra virgin olive oil is the healthiest oil you can use. You can only cook with it on a low or medium temperature. If you cook with olive oil on a high temperature, it releases some sort of chemical that is not good for animals or humans to consume. So it's one of those things, like if you're going to make an egg, for example, you know, heat your pan up, put your oil in it, immediately put your egg in it, cook, be done. It's not something where you want to fry anything in it. And obviously, if it smokes, then that oil is no good. You need to get rid of it and start over again. So the issue with olive oil is cooking at a high temperature is bad. But olive oil, especially the extra virgin olive oil, is the least processed oil. So it's pressed, it's bottled, and pretty much it's ready to go. The way that you'll know that you have a really good olive oil is the deeper the color, usually the better the olive oil. Obviously, read the label as well. Now, there are some olive oils out there that are not extra virgin. It is better for you to use those than it is to use other oils if you don't have a choice. The next healthiest oil is avocado. Avocado oil is incredibly healthy also because it is minimally processed. Now, this is a relatively expensive oil. So unlike olive oil, which you could buy in a giant gallon container for, you know, let's say $20 to $30, depends upon how much you want to spend and the quality of the oil, avocado oil will come in a much smaller container and the price will just be higher. So you're going to get less for your money. But once again, very healthy oil. Of course, just by eating an avocado, you get those healthy fats as well. So eating a raw avocado is a great idea. But if you want something to flavor your food, that is an amazing alternative. I used some the other day in a salad I made. The thing is, you once again, you want to cook with this on a low or medium heat, not on a high heat because it loses all of its value once you do that. Also, it's great raw. So if you just want to, you know, drizzle it over, there are people who'll even drizzle it over ice cream. Like, to me, that's a bit much. I would drizzle it over savory foods for sure. Just the same way you could do a olive oil. You could drizzle that over raw, you know, regular food as well. And then my next oil on the list as far as, you know, healthiest. And these are in order of the best being first, just to let you know, is flaxseed oil. Flaxseed oil is made from, I believe it's a flowering plant, the flowering portion of it. And it has omega-3s in it. It is definitely not a cooking oil, so it's not something that you should cook with. And then and I really didn't have a lot more to say about that. It does have like a light flavor to it. The next is your peanut and walnut. They're listed separately, but I put them together because they're nuts. So nut oils, if you think of it that way, are like the number 4 choice. They're definitely not the best for cooking. If you're going to cook at a low temperature and cook the food quickly, that's fine. But I would not cook at a medium or high temperature with them. Definitely the walnut oil I would not cook with at all. The walnut oil you should simply use, you know, to flavor your food. It's a great, and it has a strong flavor. So that's the other thing with nut oils. Their flavors can be very strong. The next is sesame seed. So sesame oil is amazing for flavor. The flavor is strong. It's probably one of the strongest seed oils out there. It's definitely used as, you know, something that you drizzle over your food. You can make a salad dressing out of. If you're cooking, you know, use it as a finishing oil versus cooking in it. So cook your food, drizzle it over as a finishing oil. It is yummy, it is nutty, it is really healthy for you. And then you have and then on the list, and this is not an oil necessarily, butter. So number 6 is butter. Regular butter, you know, nothing fancy, nothing that has had anything processed out of it. You know how they have like light butters and this and that, none of that bull crap. The real deal Holyfield butter. If you're going to use anything, the 6 options that I just mentioned to you are the healthiest options for you. Once again, all of them do have calories in them. So everything in moderation. And I got that saying from Julia Child, God rest her soul in a French heaven. So everything in moderation. So that doesn't mean like in the potatoes that I've made here with my yummy truffles. I just put maybe half a tablespoon of butter in there. So don't go crazy with it. And it's rare that I will add butter to my food. So the few times that you have it, you know, go ahead and have it. But just remember, once again, everything in moderation. So the other oils, and these are going to be in order of the worst down to the ones that are like not the absolute best for you. But in moderation and or if you don't have a choice, it's, you know, it's kind of okay. And some of the things that are absolutely horrendously horrible for you, such as margarine, is awful. It's horrible. It's fake. Do not use it. I know for decades, even my mother used margarine, and she used a combination of margarine and butter, but mostly she used butter. But I know that margarine is really super cheap, and it can have a ridiculous amount of yummy flavor in it, but it is one of the worst things for you. Just take it, pack it into your heart, lay down in the grave and let it go, because margarine is horrible. So some of the most horrid things I don't have on this list, and that's one of them. So on this list, there's only a few because there's a lot of oils out there. But gotta take that back. Canola oil and vegetable oil, I'm putting them together. They are 2 separate oils. The issue with canola oil and vegetable oil are that they have a lot of saturated fats in them. The positives with vegetable oil is it comes from some sort of vegetable. To be classified as a vegetable oil in the United States, it simply has to be an oil that is made of 1 or more vegetables. So when you buy vegetable oil, you could have, you know, seven different vegetables in there. So that's something to be aware of if you have allergies or if you've been having allergic issues. It might be because you're using vegetable oil that has something in it that you're allergic to. But, you know, just know that in the United States, you know, whether you could trust it or not, You know, vegetable oil is simply anything classified that has vegetables in it to create the oil, and it could be one or more vegetables. Canola oil is a combination of oils as well, but it does, you know, come from a plant. The issue with canola oil is that it is very, very processed. Just like vegetable oil, it's the issue. The issue is how much processing took place. So it has a lot of saturated fat in it, which is also a big negative. The next on this list is any type of lards, for example, shortenings, you know, that come from animal fats. And I'm even going to throw, well, I won't throw it on there yet, but so shortening is definitely something that you need to stay away from. It's not necessary. I know it makes fried chicken, fried fish and things extra crispy, but I've made those same dishes without ever using shortening, and you should do the same. Experiment, you know what you're using in your food. Also, shortening is added to a lot of snack cakes that are, you know, pre-made things that you buy at the store. So you want to definitely read your labels. The next one is duck fat. People are, you know, frying fries in duck fat. You could fry your chicken in the duck fat. You could fry your duck in the duck fat. You could fry your fat in the duck fat, meaning if you're making chicharrones or something like that. Duck fat is a fat from the animal. The thing with the duck fat, though, it's not really the worst of the worst bad fats or oils, simply because it doesn't fully become incredibly hard like a margarine does or like shortening does. It has a hardness when it cools off at room temperature, but it's still a little bit soft. So if I was going to use any of the bad oils to cook with, I might choose duck fat. Might. One of the other negatives with duck fat, though, besides it being higher in saturated fat and coming from an animal, is the fact that it is very expensive if you decide to buy it from a store. Also, that means it's processed. So, you know, now you're getting super negative because there's processing. You're buying it from a store. If you render it yourself, like if you are cooking a duck or a goose and you render the fat yourself, you can save the fat, freeze it. Do not keep it at room temperature. Do not put it in your refrigerator. Put it in the freezer. And then you'll have it to use later, and you'll know it came directly from a duck that hopefully is organic and humanely raised and slaughtered. Sunflower seed oil is another bad oil that's on this list. And the reason it's on the list is because it is high in omega-6. Omega-6 is not what you want more of. What you want more of are omega-3s because they help with inflammatory situations. And you may have an inflammatory situation and not know it and consume something high in omega-6 and wonder why those issues still persist. It's because you are adding to the issue. So make sure you check to make sure your oils are not high in omega-6. Which sunflower oil is. The last one I put on the list is coconut oil. I know, some people are losing their ever-loving, gobstopping minds right now. Because you're hearing that, you know, coconut oil is this God elixir that's going to fix all of your issues, including, you know, growing your fingernails to making your skin super soft and young. And it's also going to turn back your age 100 years, even though you're only 52 years old. That's not ever going to happen. Just want to let you know. But the issue with coconut oil is you can only use a very, very, very tiny bit of it on occasion. If you're using it every day, And if you're using big clumps of it or pouring it over everything you eat, you subtracted all of the benefits of it and you added every negative that could exist for an oil. Coconut oil is high in saturated fats. So you do not want to go, if you look at it, it clumps. It's solid when you buy it. That's a clue right there. The healthier oils, or the ones that are the more forgiving oils, are those that are usually fluid when you buy them versus being in solid clumps or chunks. And the issue with coconut oil is people are overusing it simply because someone told them that it was good for their hair, their nails, their heart, their whatever. And that is not necessarily true either. Like I said, everything in moderation, and that is one of the oils that you should use incredibly moderately. Otherwise, you will find yourself in trouble. If you already have, let's say you've had blocked arteries or heart disease of any type, you know, the oils that are high in saturated fats, or the fats high in saturated fats, which every fat is high in saturated fat, you do not want to use them because you already have a heart issue. You should be looking at simply going oilless, or fatless, like this pear, which I can't wait to bite into. But so far today, that's what I have as far as my lessons on fat. So just remembering that if you're using extra virgin olive oil for 99% of your cooking, and you're using it on a low or medium heat or no heat at all, you are using the healthiest oil that you can use for humans or animals. And the reason I say humans or animals is we give our dog an omega-3, like she gets a tablespoon of that every day mixed in with her breakfast. Remember your animals when you are taking care of yourself. If you want your dogs, your cats to live beyond, 8 years old, then you should also be worried about their heart health, because they're eating a lot of human byproduct type food in their dog food, whether or not you give it to them directly or it's something that you buy at the store. So our dog is going on 13 years. She's actually 13 years old, and she is doing amazingly great. I literally had to pull her in from the below zero temperatures with the ice and the snow today because she wanted to stay out there and just romp around on all the snowbanks because she likes being the tallest. So, when you think about yourself, also think about your animals. I hope this information on oils and fats was helpful to you. If you have any suggestions, please leave them down below. Yes, I'm going to be naughty and eat this cake, which I know is made with some of the unhealthy oils, but once again, or fats, everything is in moderation. I'm going to have this, and then I will not have anything like this for many months. And you should, do the same, especially when you're planning your one meal a day modified. Thank you for tuning in. And if you have any questions, please leave them below. Also, I would love for you to give us a thumbs up. And if you would please take a quick moment to subscribe to our channel, I would greatly appreciate it. Be well, and remember, health is wealth.